first moved here thinking how gay it was.
Sometimes I think Washington's more gay than San Francisco is.
Capitol Hill is packed with gay staffers. There are so many of them.
You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a gay staffer.
There's a running joke that actually like gay men make Capitol Hill run on time. They don't have like a wife or children to go home to, so they can work really long hours.
To this day, I have not seen any place like it. So it is probably like the most gay place. Unfortunately, it's probably still the most closeted place.
Okay, the makers of the controversial new film, a documentary, Outrage, they say that their goal is to yank secretly gay politicians who campaign against gay rights out of the closet and expose them as the hypocrites that they are. Please welcome the director of Outrage, Kirby Dick, and activist for gay rights, Michael Rodgers. Welcome, guys. Okay, let's start with Kirby. Tell us what you were trying to accomplish with this film. What's your goal?
Well, the film is about hypocrisy. Yeah. It's about the hypocrisy of closeted politicians who vote anti-gay and in the process harm the lives of millions of American gay and lesbian citizens. And this is a story that hasn't been told. The mainstream media hasn't covered it. So the first thing I wanted to do is get this story told.
Okay, and you picked Michael as your central catalyst.
Exactly.
Why him?
Well, Mike Rodgers is the most important reporter on this issue in this decade. He's been covering this for a long time, and in fact, he was the person who outed Larry Craig 9 months before he was arrested in the bathroom. So he was way ahead of the curve.
How did you know that Larry Craig was gay? How did you know?
I'm a reporter, and just like any other story that I go out and seek for my website, I do research, I meet with sources, I talk to individuals, I look at evidence, I hear corroborating stories from people across the country, and then I report on them.
Those are still allegations at best, though. I mean, he has, look, and many of the people in the film, too, have denied being gay. So do you worry about them coming back and trying to sue you for outing them?
Why not?
I do not.
What protects you then?
The best defense for a lawsuit like that, of course, is the truth. So that's not a worry at all.
Okay.
I have a 100% record, and you know, any journalistic outfit, I guess, is set up to potentially be in that position. I have to be triple, 100, 250% sure, and that's what helps me maintain my 100% record to date over 5 years.
Some people feel, too, that, you know, in trying to out I mean, mainly Republicans who you think are closeted in terms of their voting record, is a way of bullying people into voting a certain way. I mean, there may be some closeted gay members in Washington that just may think, okay, this is my personal life, but then for the country, this is what I think is best. How do you then, do you see it as bullying at all? I mean, in some ways, are we then to ask our legislators and our judges to then only legislate, vote, and judge based on their personal emotions and beliefs and actions?
No, I don't think it's bullying at all. It's reporting. Now, the important thing here is if a politician is out and he's voting anti-gay, then the entire public knows. They know what's going on. But if he's closeted, they don't know. And that's the importance of reporting. That's what good reporters do on any issue.
But so basically, though, because I'm not a big fan of outing people, I don't think it's right. I don't think anybody has the right to make that decision for you. But that's how I feel. But let me ask you, so if you have somebody who is voting their conscience, maybe they're not out. Have you taken time to sit down and say to people, why did you vote this way, or why are you doing this, or is it, because I think sometimes people vote their religion, as we were saying earlier, they have different convictions, and I wouldn't want people to think they're just voting to be boneheads. You know what I mean?
Well, we all would want that.
That's a good question.
Well, first of all, no politician gets to decide what story is written about them. No. And when we talk about religion, for example, every congressional website in the country lists the religion of Congress members. So people, when they're
shared that,
but they're being out when it affects their votes. And I agree with you. I'm actually anti-outing too, Whoopi. I'm pro-exposing hypocrisy. So when people live their private lives, anybody in the country, but the problem is.
So if Larry Craig had voted for gay rights, for gay marriage, you would have left him alone?
I could care less.
Is that why so many liberal senators, people in Washington are left alone and not outed? You'll let them remain in the closet if you think they are?
You'll leave them alone?
Well, let me answer Elizabeth's question because it's a very important question, and I know Kirby in the film is very careful. It's not a conservative, it's not a liberal, it's not a Democrat or Republican issue.
Hypocrisy on both sides.
Hypocrisy is hypocrisy, and I just think that people have to be honest. No law, the basis of this country is that the people who make the laws have to live under them.
Well, just like Whoopi said, she didn't agree with outing people. Sometimes it's a very private struggle. But we have a clip of you with a reporter. It got a little bit heated on this. Can we see it?
The movie's good.
You're hurting people.
Well, wait, then you're saying being gay is wrong. Let me ask you a question.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you a question.
Absolutely not. And
let me ask you this example.
I take that back because I do not mean that.
Well, when you point a finger at somebody, but
I'm about ready to do a lot more than point my finger at you.
What would that be?
I take you outside and give you a punch across the face because that's not what I said, and that's not what I mean.
Wow. I mean, but maybe he meant he was going to ask you out. What was that about? But I mean, you could, by outing somebody who it could be a personal struggle for them. Anything, you could possibly be wrecking somebody's life. How do you defend that?
Well, I defend it as in, for example, in the case of Larry Craig, he voted consistently to discharge lesbian and gay members from the military. So if he can do that as a veteran of the military, that's not living under the laws that you want to legislate, and that's called tyranny. I mean, where the people who set the rules don't have to follow them, and that's just unacceptable. And what the film does is it shows the difference. It shows the exact cases of how are people being hypocrites.
But I'm curious because the gays in the military with someone who's not in the military, we live under that kind of tyranny all the time. People are making laws and sending people who are kids they're sending, and the adults never have to go. But we're talking now, if you are, say, against gay marriage, and you vote your heart and say, no, I don't believe this is right, is this someone who you would expose if they said they did not believe in gay marriage? If they were gay?
If they're being honest about who they are and explaining what informs their vote to the American people, then I have no problem with their activity.
So if they say I'm against gay marriage and they're cruising the bars with guys, then you have to call them on it.
I think I do go back to the point that in some way it is a form of bullying people to try to have them match their personal lives with what they think is best for the country, and I think that's going down a dangerous path. We would have a very different legal system if that were the case across the board. But you'll be in work for a long time because there's a lot of hypocrisy everywhere. Outrage is in select theaters now, and we come back. A woman who says oral sex is the new goodnight kiss for teenage girls. You don't want to miss it.